Alright, greetings everybody. It is time for another video with me, and thank you so much for watching. So first, let's talk about something that someone's asked for. I know I don't read all the comments and I don't comment back. I try to answer, questions when I see them. Recently I changed my phone, which has kind of messed up just a bunch of stuff. And some people were asking, hey, Umbra, why don't you talk about how certain characters are doing after they've come out in a few months down, like, or a month and after you were down? And I'm like, oh, that's a pretty good idea. And I kind of do that already. Whenever there's a character coming on global, I feel like I've had enough, definitely had enough time to really evaluate how a character, which is why I do that. But I think some people maybe want a little more update. So first, let me say, if you want to know about a certain character on JP recently, let me know, and I will do it in this new video series, providing that, I'm not completely swamped in real life. Obviously, recently, it's been a busy time doing this. I've also been enjoying Metroid Prime videos, blah, 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 theater rhythm, all of that. All right, so today, I want to take a look again at two characters, two really big antithesis characters that are major in terms, one in terms major of Wotv, one major in terms of Final Fantasy, Sephiroth, and the other character we're going to talk about is Ruinstern. So yes, here, take a look. This is my Ruinstern. Basically, he is at level 140 currently, and over here is my Sephiroth, who is at 135 right now. Both of them basically roughly around the same in terms of reincarnations, and I want to talk about where each of these characters are and whether or not they are good in their meta or in the current where JP is, how popular they are, and also how good they are in different pieces of content. And let me start by saying that both of these characters are very strong overall, especially if you have like the VCs and the Espers to support it. There's a lot that these units can do to really mess up the opponent's team. And right now on JP, it does feel like there's a lot of different strong teams. And something I'm going to be referring to in this video is, if it goes up, is Pechon's latest video, where he was basically taking a sample of the new Valentine Miranda against multiple different teams. And just to summarize the findings there really interestingly, Thunder is very strong, but also could lose. Ice was just very strong, period. Fire could potentially really put up a fight and put up for a very close fight. Earth was kind of back and forth, and it depended on positioning. Water magic was just particularly strong with all the combination of healing that element has right now. If you look at the newest character from JP, Amnelis, as well as Perrine, as well as Aerith, that's a very strong team. The dark team, the light team, there's a lot of great different teams that feel quite strong and aren't necessarily always going to win, even if they are 140. There's a lot of different stuff you can see across the spreadsheet here for characters, power levels, and strong teams. So currently in JP, there actually are quite a few different elements that are very competitive and even a little bit back and forth. It's not necessarily guaranteed all the time. So before I go into some actual gameplay that I want to show off, especially with Valentine Miranda, it's going to sneak into this video. I want to talk about our first character, Sephiroth, because Sephiroth has become the new Black Witch Helena. And why I say that is because Sephiroth is all around just an amazing character to do the multi-missions with. He has very quickly become a character that is omnipresent. Whenever people queue into a multi-farming map, just via randos. This is the character that shows up 9 times out of 10 now, from my experience. I don't have a ton of data right now because there aren't that many players I know that are still playing the game. But from my experience doing it, Sephiroth is a very, very calming character, not only in PvE, but PvP content. He's just generally really strong across multiple elements, very capable damage dealer, gets rid of re-raise, guts, all that stuff. So yes, Sephiroth is insanely strong, and even after all of this time, I would say that his popularity has only stayed consistently high. Everybody pulled him on JP, basically, and everybody's maxed him on JP, and everybody's using him on JP. Even ends up in like even where I'm just doing lower arena now, he ends up in a lot of multi-element teams too, because he's just so strong. So yeah, I just wanted to say that basically Sephiroth popularity has not changed. Now, when he comes out on global, he has to contend with Sylvie, and that will be maybe more of an interesting thing. JP is light, is just finally back on a upswing right now. So yeah, I think that Sephiroth are still a really, really strong investment. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because really the counter, or his opposite in a way of just elements, is Ruinstern, another very popular character in Wotv canon, who, like, a lot of people were waiting for this upgraded version. He looked really cool in the trailer and everything. So when he first came out on JP, I have to say that I was a little bit disappointed with. He didn't quite feel, after I initially started using him, just as strong as Sephiroth. He didn't feel just like such a, you slap this character down and boom kind of thing, you win sort of thing. Like he didn't feel like that in the early days. And since then, I think in a lot of my videos I came down maybe a little, hyped for him at first, and then more negative as time went on. I have to say that I don't feel the same way about him. He has gotten much better into his 140 once he's fully maxed, once he has proper equipment set up and everything like that. And again, just taking a look here on Pechon's video, you can see this is like a type of setup that he is running pretty consistently, which is Chaos Bahamut, the Chaos Bahamut card, a speed up Ramza card, which is always just a good card to get, globalers who don't know, his own sword, some armor, as well as bells. This combination is pretty dang strong. You do need to modify his AI and subjob a little bit. Just taking a look here, you can see that Valentine Miranda, that's the name, is in here as well. And we even have Engelbert, and Engelbert is just more defensive, whatnot, with the demon wall. So this is kind of what light looks like. So let's take a look at this match. We're just going to look at one match from Pechon, because this highlights the two interesting things. One with a brand new unit, but both focusing on our units that we want to talk about in the video. And just pay attention, because they're going to be two of the last standing characters in this fight. Not to be anti-spoiler, but I think that these are two really, really strong characters for their elements, and kind of, I would say that both of them have become the linchpin in their elements as well. It's not like a guarantee that either of these characters are just going to help you win every single matchup. Like if you want like a comparison, because I'm saying this sort of thing, like, you remember when Celeste first came out and Astoria came out on JP, and JP's meta was basically Celeste, Astoria everywhere sort of thing, and it was like almost like game breaking how strong that combination was. And since then, with the addition of certain key characters, it feels much more varied now. But here you can see just how strong Sephiroth is, even against like a very any powerful character kind of thing. And taking a look at the DPS that we're getting here. And Engelbert, I have to say, is quite hanging in there too. Like, you need a good tank. Warrior of Light is not necessary. But anyway, all right. So she gets the revive. You can see the type of damage that a properly equipped and fully powered up wing stern is capable of. Speaking of one winged, which there's another comparison. Two like one metal wing versus one other wing. Interesting. So yeah, you can see there we have a very pretty much definitive win. If we go a little bit further on, I lied. We're actually going to take a look at 2 matches here. And the thing that, if you're curious more about this, basically Miranda isn't a definitive winner, which I didn't think she was going to be, but basically looking at a lot of the matchups that pechon was doing with his setup, like very clearly that this can be a strong unit, but isn't necessarily like what's I'm just trying to think of what I really want to say here. Like, she's not oppressively powerful or anything like that. But here, just taking a look at the second matchup, here we're looking without the Engelbert, and just to see how like team composition matters here. Because here we have like two mages versus one mage on the other side, and one physical versus 2 physical. And this style of setup right now, and just what it can mean, like obviously positioning is very, very important. Also getting really, really lucky is really important here. But yeah, one of the things I really want to highlight here is just how back and forth it is between light and dark right now. Like, changing out of a single unit, positioning of a single unit, especially in like an arena type setting or a guild war type setting, can really make the difference between like strong characters and weak characters. And it can be like very close, and also just like very interesting matchups between light and dark right now. Like, it's not as clear cut as you would think. Like, Sephiroth doesn't necessarily make it just a standout win or dark anymore. And you can see just like how close it can be between these two characters, where it comes down sometimes to a coin toss kind of thing. But yeah, like it is interesting to see how light and dark has evolved. There's a lot of different things to consider as well right now. Lucio is basically a very easy, free to play, fully reincarnated character to a certain extent if you have the job points. And just the way that other elements are evolving. Like, Lightning is still using the Skahal, but has also kind of adopted Alphonse for just how incredibly tanky he is. There's a ton of different stuff we can look into, but for this video and just purposely looking at light and dark right now, it feels like there's a lot of potential back and forth between how light and dark teams are. It does feel like Wing Stern and Sephiroth have each become probably one of the most key characters for that element. It doesn't mean that they are the be all and end all, because, well, quite frankly, you know, different maps are going to benefit certain characters more than other characters. And sometimes you're just going to have bad matchups where you can't necessarily win. And you're going to sometimes have good matchups where you are favored, kind of thing. It's just the way it kind of is. But I have to say that it has been an interesting time this last little bit, like just figuring out what is really good, what is really bad, what is working in terms of the elements. And I think some people are really going to be, I guess, if you're wondering about like, hey, is there a unit right now that you're really recommending over somebody else? Do you think it's better to go light or is it better to go dark? I would say right now that you have a lot of flexibility and light towards magic or physical teams. And Wingstern is definitely come into his own and is finding a very key position in the element. As for Sephiroth, Sephiroth is just probably the best character that has ever come along since Fly Glassy, and will probably remain top of the meta for a good long time, which is what we kind of expected. But yeah, hopefully this has been like a little bit more of an insight. I know there was a lot of talking in this video, as well as some gameplay, but I do want to highlight some of my key thoughts about this. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If someone wants to recommend a character in different elements, and I'll try my best to talk and show them off as best I can, what I can find. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and see you next time.